Looks like we are live. Let me check on my end. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Well, looks good. I think I'm live. I think. Not so sure on this side of it. Okay, still working on this. Okay, I think we are live. All right, so welcome to yet another Sunday Ask Me Anything session. Okay, so basically what we do here is we answer Facebook Ask questions that were posted on my Facebook group, if you belong there, as well as on my YouTube channel. So if you are watching this on the Facebook group, I would strongly recommend that you join me on my YouTube because for some reason at this point of time I can't seem to be, because the so-called the streaming software that I'm using can't really capture the comments on inside the Facebook group. So it'll be a lot better if you do this, if you join me on my YouTube channel. Okay, so if you're new to me, my name is Jason. I have been helping brands, businesses, big and small, in terms of in navigating success on Facebook advertising and digital marketing since 2010. So I actually started my digital agency in 2010, and over the years, I work with hundreds of businesses from across the region, and I actually stopped my agency part of business in 2020. So 10 years running my boutique agency, it was fun, but yet again, I realized it was not as fulfilling as I would have imagined it, because I really wanted to help more people grow with Facebook advertising and digital marketing. So I actually started training in 2016. So over the years, I had the privilege to work with over 5,000 people from all around the world. So it's a very interesting journey, and I really love the training and coaching part. So I specialize in Facebook advertising and YouTube marketing, which is a new pillar that we just launched. So if you have any questions about Facebook advertising or YouTube marketing, you can actually post your comment in the comment, post your questions in the comment section. Anywhere, I think it's perfectly fine, because the whole idea here is I just want to help as many people as possible. So if you have posted any questions on my Facebook group or my YouTube channel, I will be going through them over here in this session. But just want to quickly wish everyone happy Chinese New Year, because if you're celebrating, this is what we do in our part of the world. It's called Lunar New Year as well. Basically, it's like a long break where people do reunion and all that. But I would say, despite all this gathering and all that, that can be done, or which is allowed in a way, but stay safe, everyone. The COVID is still around, so we don't want to get ourselves into any trouble and situation. Okay, so I hope you're back to work. In fact, throughout the entire week of the Chinese New Year celebration, I was really working, and I get to really do a lot of stuff that I wanted to do, but I didn't have the time. So I hope you feel as productive as I am, right? But then again, if you want to gear up your learning in 2022, okay, I would strongly recommend that you join me in my future live trainings, because in fact, starting next Tuesday, we already have a few so-called live workshops lined up. These are all live workshops and trainings, which of course you will be offered something towards the end of the workshop. But I promise you, all these workshops that I line up for you are valuable in terms of you will definitely learn something very useful. Like next week, we're going to have a few. First, we're going to talk about analytics, which is going to happen on Tuesday. Okay, and then after that, on Thursday, we're going to talk about email marketing. So if email marketing is a thing that you want to explore in 2022, okay, this is really something that you want to look into, because in my opinion, I think if you are watching this in one way or another, you have been running ads, whether on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Google. But then again, about Facebook advertising or even any advertising on the digital platform is, it is a little bit more not that sustainable, because, okay, you need to constantly get in a lot of new people into your framework, that's for sure. But then again, my next question that I always ask myself and my community would be, what can you do to increase the value of every customer that you get in? As in, like, once a person come in and buy from you, what can you do to stay connected, either to build a brand or to actually get them to buy more, which is to increase the customer lifetime value. So email is proven one of the most powerful method that I actually have been using for the past 1 year plus in a very effective way. So this is where my good friend Andrew and I are going to share a framework that we use on Thursday. So you go over, scan this QR code, go for the email game plan. So that's where we discuss. And of course, on Friday, I have a workshop because I did one last month, okay, and it was good, But then again, a lot of people couldn't join me. So I was thinking, why not, right? I just run another one on coming Friday, which is I'm going to share with you how I built my YouTube channel into a traffic and revenue powerhouse for my business. Well, if you are familiar with my YouTube channel, and I believe some of you are, my YouTube channel is a very small YouTube channel. Up to now, we only have about 4,500 subscribers. Although we have quite a number of videos, but these are all the videos that are not being optimized for YouTube in a way. But then again, it has generated me six-figure in revenue in the past 1 year plus. So this is a workshop, which we call the six-figure YouTube channel that I'm going to run on coming Friday. This is where I will share with you how I built my YouTube channel into a powerhouse and what I did right then and what are the opportunities that I missed and what are the new so-called formula that I added into my YouTube channel. Not just one, I had two, in fact, three, now. So what do I do in making my YouTube channel into a very powerful so-called, traffic and revenue generator for my business? It's a very powerful way. Can you imagine? It actually increased my organic traffic by 300%. 300%. Okay, it's a very powerful method. So you want to learn. Go over, scan this QR code, or go to trapupacademy.com/live. Pick any training or any workshop that is suitable for you, and I look forward to see you in the training. So, okay, now let's go over some of the questions that were posted in my Facebook group or my YouTube channel. Okay, the first question comes from Emmanuel. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I apologize if I don't. Okay, so Emmanuel is asking, okay, what if you want to change objective? I believe this is the question that they were posted on my YouTube video that talks about how do you duplicate Facebook ads campaign. So basically, this is a way that you can actually quickly duplicate a campaign and do some simple settings and launch it as a new one. So basically, on the campaign level, at the ad set level, and at the ad level, all you can do duplication. So so basically when you're duplicating at whichever level you're duplicating at that particular thing. So let's say, for example, if you're duplicating a campaign, that means you're starting a new campaign entirely from scratch, where this is a totally new campaign where you will have to go through its learning and all that all over again. Now, if you're duplicating an ad set, that means you're keeping the same campaign, but you're duplicating. I mean, the reason why we duplicate an ad set could be because you want to test a new audience, or you want to test, or you want to split budget, or you want to do some optimization at the ad set level. Things that you can do are your audience targeting, your budget, and all this kind of stuff, the location and all these audience targeting part of things. So this is what we do on ad set. So when you are duplicating an ad set, essentially you're actually continuing or so-called taking advantage of the historical data of the entire campaign. So this is a more recommended way. So if you want to just test new audience and all that, I don't recommend to start a new campaign entirely. I would say you can actually duplicate the ad set and test a new one. But of course, there are some do's and don'ts when it comes to duplication and all that, which I already discussed in this video. If you want to find out more, you can go to how to duplicate Facebook ads campaign. Go to my YouTube channel and search for this video and watch it. Okay. And basically, the other thing that I wanted to talk about here is when you are duplicating an ad, that is where we duplicate the ad because we want to test a new creative. This is where we want to look at how can we, have a new creative to test whether are we getting a better result, or probably it's because of the fatigue that is already kicking in. So same thing, when you're duplicating the ad, it actually carries this. It actually kind of like stick back to the so-called the ad set or targeting or ad set settings that is available. Okay, and basically that's how the whole thing works. So Emmanuel's question is about if you want to change objective, you can still duplicate the entire campaign. In this case, you need to duplicate the entire campaign. And then after that, once you duplicate the campaign, you can still choose to change the objective. However, if you have a lot of very detailed settings at the ad set level and even at the ad level, because certain features are only available on specific so-called objectives. Let's say, for example, if you're duplicating a lead gen campaign and you want to turn it into a traffic campaign, technically you can do that. However, you need to make sure that all the settings inside the ad set level and the ad level has to be adjusted as well. Else the ad may not be able to run. So yeah, eventually that's how we do. You want to duplicate the campaign level if you want to change the objective. However, you want to make sure that you are doing all the necessary adjustment at the ad set level and at the ad level to make sure that everything can be run smoothly. Okay, so that's the first question. Thanks, Emmanuel. And next, we want to go over a question. Also, I'm not sure. Okay, Emmanuel. I guess similar name. It's very interesting. So, okay. I posted a video to talk about Facebook Pixel and Conversion API. So Emmanuel is asking whether are these Facebook Pixel and Conversion API tracking only conversions coming from Facebook ads, or they are also tracking conversions coming from like Google ads or even organic traffic coming from everywhere? Because he's asking, there is a difference. There's also called discrepancy. On the numbers shown on Pixel and aggregated events. So yes, the quick answer here will be this: Facebook Pixel and Conversion API, they are very similar in a way. When you're talking about the tracking part of it, right? If you're talking about, you are seeing this inside the events manager, the conversion reflected, every conversion, the number reflected combines conversions coming from all platforms. Could it be YouTube? Could it be Google? Could it be Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or even any email marketing and all that? They will be there. It combines everything. But if you want to do kind of like attribution, you want to know, let's say out of these 100 conversions, how many of them came from Google? How many of them came from Facebook, and etc.? This is something that you can't do within Facebook Events Manager, or so-called the analytics inside the Facebook Events Manager at this point of time, because since the iOS 14.5 issue kind of happened, Facebook do not really do this kind of attribution anymore. They lose a lot of attribution settings. I think it's because of the privacy settings that like Apple is implementing and all. So if you want to still find out about all these trackings, the easiest way is to actually fall back to Google Analytics. You see, I always like to kind of like advocate that, you see, Facebook Analytics or Facebook Pixel, all these data are not really for analytical purpose. It is more for optimization and tracking purpose, as in like you want to run ads, you want to use the Facebook Pixel to at least attribute how many conversions came from this particular advertisement, so they can further enhance the performance of the advertisement by doing certain adjustment or optimization as we move along. So that's how I would think the usage of Facebook Pixel at this point of time. So if you want to find out about the attribution, the sources or the medium that contributed to, let's say, 100 conversion, you want to know which one come from where, I think that would be easier if you are using Google Analytics. That's why you have to have all these fundamental tools available when you want to optimize your digital marketing endeavors or activities. Just want to make sure that you have all these things in place. Like definitely, if you advertise on Facebook, you need to have Facebook Pixel and Conversion API both set up, and you need to have Google Analytics. And if you run ads on Facebook, you need to have Google remarketing tags or all this kind of stuff, which I'm not familiar with. But then again, this is really something that you can easily find online. But yeah, so these are all the things that you should have when you're launching a digital business. All right, so Emmanuel, I hope I answer your question. So yes. All right, now the next question is coming from Doris. Doris is an old friend. So Doris is asking, can you use the same image for T1 and T2, or can it be the same? So you're asking if the same, does Facebook algorithm identifies as duplicate ad sets and suggest to merge into one for effective optimization? So if you use different image for T1 and T2, but still doing the same product types, would enhance the readership and interest for targeting audience. Now, let me break it down just for everyone else who are not familiar with my framework. Now, my method of running Facebook ads is based on a framework that I call the two-step funnel framework, where simultaneously, whenever we launch a campaign, we will have two ads running simultaneously. So an ad is really on, finding new audiences for us, for our business, as in like constantly bringing fresh audience into our framework. And because you see, here's how it works, right? Every 100 people you bring in, probably you will convert about 3 to 5 of them. But my question is, how do you convince, or how do you remind these 95 or to 97 others who actually interested but did not convert. That's why it's always important to have a retargeting campaign running. So a retargeting campaign, which is essentially the tier 2 campaign, is the campaign that we use to remind those who actually taken action but did not buy. So basically, these two ads, I mean, just to answer the quick question of Doris, the first one is usually we use different kind of creative. In fact, you just have to imagine this way. Okay, the first ad is usually to target fresh audience. So the way you write the ad has to be like, hey, I am Jason and I do this, etc., etc. So click and take a look at what I have. Now, for those who have taken action, they already know that I'm Jason and I do such things. So if I still come back and tell them that, hey, this is Jason and all that, it will look very, noob to me. The people will feel that, what the hell, I've taken action, and you say that you're a Facebook ads expert and you still don't know how to differentiate whether am I a fresh audience or old. So usually we use different tone of writing. In fact, most of the time we use different creative as well. However, okay, based on Doris' question, the next question that she has is, if you still want to use the same creative, which is maybe e-commerce, there's nothing much you want to talk about, right? It's catalog, and the same is catalog. Now, even if you talk about, if you're using the same creative, it is okay. But I would still strongly recommend to use a different copywriting. So at least you need to differentiate yourself or distinct. Your ad 1 and ad 2 are different, and you want to create a kind of so-called feeling to your audience that you really know that which part of the journey they are at this point of time. So you don't want to look dumb in your advertisement. So basically, that's how I think. So if you are having tier 1 and tier 2 ad, these two are separate, different ad set. So when you're running these two ads like that, usually Facebook will never ask you to merge these two ads because they totally understand. First one is a broad targeting campaign, and the second one is a retargeting campaign. So they shouldn't, because they truly understand the concept of broad targeting or so-called cold audience targeting and a retargeting campaign. But if you still do, I always like to emphasize, we know what we are doing, isn't it? The reason why we need to have two ad sets because we are targeting different sets of audience at different level of customer journey. So even though Facebook, if they call me and say, hey, I want you to merge these two, it is still entirely up to us whether I want to take the action or not. So as long as you know what you're doing, it is completely okay to ignore whatever recommendation that is popping up in your ads manager and all that. Just like a few other things, like for example, at times when you set up your so-called campaign, like let's say conversion, Facebook may pop up and say that, oh, you may get 0 conversion, right? And at times, Facebook will tell you that, oh, this is a learning limited. It's like a yellow, triangle with an exclamation mark in the middle. So these are all the things that Facebook, it's actually set by the AI to pop up and to help you, to give you reminder about the possible situation that you might face. But yet again, like I always emphasize, as long as you know what you're doing, it is completely okay to ignore all these messages. It will never kill your campaign. I hope that assures you, Doris. Okay, it's completely okay. All right. Now, the last question that Doris has within this para here is, if you use different image and you still use doing the same product types, would it enhance the readership? I think that would go back to my earlier metaphor, which is the situation that we are trying to understand here. When you have a tier 1 campaign, that is essentially to go out and target fresh audience for us, and the tier 2 is to do the retargeting. First thing first, these two are targeting, although they are the same person, you see, because they have seen the first one definitely, then they will see the second one. But then again, they are at different stage of the customer journey at this point of time. So I would strongly recommend, like I mentioned, the ad should be different. Like for example, what I would do for e-commerce is the first ad I would be saying, 50% discount, let's say, on selected items. The due date is end of this, let's say February, for example. Okay, so that's how you want to attract people to come in, right, to take the first action. Now, for those who have clicked but did not purchase, right, which is our tier 2 campaign, the T2 campaign essentially, I will be saying, promo expiring soon. Buy now before we run out of stock. I mean, you get my, the tonality, the call to action, and the urgency has to be different at different levels. So that's what I think. And essentially, the creative itself may or may not help you improve your so-called readership, or action taken or conversion. It has to be tested along the way. So all these are the things that we need to test as we run Facebook advertisement. I always like to emphasize to people where you can start Facebook advertising very easily. But then again, in order to master Facebook advertising, there are a lot of areas to look into. Like, for example, audience targeting is definitely one area that a lot of people struggle. And the other part is, of course, the creative targeting, so-called the creative creation. And the other part will be the analytics. Because like I always emphasize, like the beauty of digital marketing, or rather Facebook advertising, is we have full control on everything. As in, like, we know exactly which advertisement works better, at what time it works better, which audience works better, which gender works better. So when we have all this data, it should help us to make better decisions. So basically, we do not depend on the interest or targeting or whatnot. Like some people like to test, oh, do I test interest set A and interest set B, see which one works better? But then again, I talk about this many times. You can actually search about all these videos that I talk about this. My argument is this: unless you are spending big budget, you will not be able to kick into a kind of like a level that you can achieve optimization of both different ad sets, detailed targeting, to find out which one works better. So unless you spend big, like I say, if not, I would not recommend that kind of technique. So rather, we run ads. We know, because like let's say, for example, when I run my business, when I run my ads, I know exactly who I want to target. I want to target Facebook advertisers, and regardless what age, what gender, what interest they are in, I have my own way of targeting. So when I run these ads, I will just let it run, and I'll just rest this. Then after that, I do optimization as the data comes in. I think that will be a better way to run, to approach Facebook advertising in a more so-called professional way. Okay, so thanks for the question, Doris. It's a good one. Okay, it shows that you are really kind of getting deeper. But I want you to start thinking from the perspective of, like, when you are separating these two ads, how will you approach all these things? Yeah. So okay, now before we go further, I have another question, and this is not a question. This is Vira Kai. I'm not sure whether we spoke before. You say you subscribed to my class last 2 years, but you do not optimize your marketing on Facebook. That's the thing. Okay, in 2 years time, in 1 year plus, in fact, I started to get active on YouTube. I think since July 2020. So 1.5 years down, because of YouTube, I get to will learn and work with a lot of people coming from many countries. That's definitely a blessing. I really enjoy the journey. But I always like to kind of like, another thing that I want to talk about here is, this is Facebook advertising. It's like a technique that needs sharpening. Yeah. I mean, the first time you look at Facebook advertising, it may look simple, but the moment you start doing it, then you will realize it is not as simple. Then you kind of like start learning and all that. As you progress as a Facebook advertiser, eventually you will get better. But if you don't practice, Facebook advertising technique can really grow old on you really fast. First thing first, Facebook ads or Facebook advertising or digital marketing at large is a very fast-moving so-called industry. Whatever worked last week may not work now. And there are so many things that is affecting so-called the outcome or the performance of the campaign. So you need to constantly stay in the game to stay updated and to progress. That's why if you stop doing this for a while and you want to come back, in fact, I do think you need to actually refresh your memory a little bit about what you have learned, because 2 years down, a lot of things change. In fact, I just completed another so-called a new Facebook ads program that covers all the things that I learned in the past 1 year plus since the COVID hit. Or so many things are totally different right now. Whatever worked, in fact, like 6 months ago may not work right now, because of a lot of things that are changing. One of the most important things that are constantly changing will be the user behavior. So that's something that it's very difficult to chase, but that is one of the so-called important factor that affects the effectiveness of your campaign. So yeah, you got to stay in the game, man. Okay. So if you need help, just go over to my website and sign up for any so-called program that might work for you. But then again, um, you just want to quickly bring back to where we started, right? So if you think 2022 is the year that you want to up your digital marketing game. In fact, I have already kind of like expanded my universe. We're no longer just talking about Facebook advertising, because if you look at the digital marketing as a so-called universe, it consists of many elements. So Facebook advertising is where I specialize in. In fact, that's not the only thing that I specialize in. As we move along, in order to do effective digital marketing, we need to have a lot of elements in place. Like, for example, my Facebook advertising may work really well to bring in a lot of leads for me. But how do I nurture my leads? I cannot just keep running ads to them, because it will grow, it will get very expensive on my end. And the audience will start hating me. So I need to start doing other way to do nurturing part of things, which is email marketing that I use. Email marketing is what I used in the past 1 year. It has generated multiple six-figure for my business. One of the most powerful way to actually nurture your audience and make them buy is via email. I achieved great success with email. That's why I started this email marketing pillar with my good friend Andrew. And we want to share with you how to do email marketing right. If you kind of like miss that, right, you really need to do something about that and kind of bring back. So email marketing is another one that we started. In fact, a few months ago, and we are seeing good results coming in, helping different people optimizing. So email marketing, and of course, the other part of this is I mentioned to you just now. If you're watching this on my YouTube, you know that I grew my YouTube into a traffic and revenue powerhouse in just under 2 years. It has generated six-figure in revenue for me as well. And as you can see, my YouTube channel is not a exciting YouTube channel. It's a boring YouTube channel. And we don't have a lot of subscribers. And if you look at it, most YouTube videos that I posted has less than 100 views. But then again, how did we manage to make a lot of money out of these videos? And how did it actually contributed to my so-called to increase my organic traffic by over 300%? That's also another thing that I wanted to share with you. So scan this QR or go to tribeupacademy.com/live, and you will be able to see all the available free workshops that we'll be running in the coming few weeks. And join me if you can. I look forward to actually share with you all the things that I know, okay, that I learned in the past 1 year plus to help you jumpstart your digital marketing journey. Okay, so yeah, Facebook advertising, email marketing, YouTube. These are the three main pillars that we specialize in right now. So if you need help in any area, do drop me a line or join me in any workshops so that we can actually learn together. All right. Miraka is saying that need to start all over again, right? Okay, you posted this comment, need to start all over again. It's fine. It's not too late. In fact, it's just the right time to do this right now. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for joining. I think that's it. That's all we have. We don't see many questions coming in, and we don't have a lot of questions. I think people are still taking a break from the celebration, and that's good. Okay, and okay, Miraka is saying got a guy helping you to do CPAS, but burn a lot of money and not effective. I have a CPAS class. It's the latest one. You drop me a line. I will point you out. Yeah, it's not in the public. Okay, drop me a line. I will send you the link to explore, because we work on a lot of CPAS cases recently, a lot. And if you know how to do this in the right way, or if you want to work, there are different way of working with me. Either you learn yourself to launch this, and in fact, we have another coaching program, which is what we call the Jumpstart Coaching program. So drop me a line on my Facebook page, and I'll point you to the link to take a look at the program. And if you are, looking into something like that, we can work together. I specialize. I get into a lot more coaching, like as in one-on-one coaching, because I think a lot of businesses may not have the time to go through the learning themselves. So yeah. So if you need that, just drop me a line. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's a nice chat. Okay, and I'm hoping everyone to have a good celebration. You had a good rest, and let's conquer 2022. In a strong way. So I'll see you next week. That's what we do on every Sunday night. And if you like this, recommend and invite your friends to join my YouTube channel and all that, so that we can actually have chat like this every Sunday night. So yep, thanks guys. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Good night. Bye bye.